G'day there, ladies and gents of the internet. I am the Braveheart Aussie and welcome to a journey in world building. Today we return to the development of key concepts within our world building project, the Dark Diaspora universe. Last time we established the history and fall of Earth, its destruction necessitating the scattering of survivors across the galaxy and the formation of the Diaspora. So how did humanity escape? As discussed in the genre selection video, I'm a believer in having firm science in our universe. This is not hard science, meaning some liberties and fictional elements are allowed. However, I want the technology of the Dark Diaspora universe to have a coherent internal logic and reasonableness. There are two main technologies I envisage have supported humanity's escape from Earth. The first is an anti-gravity field generator. I wanted a technology that was universal and ubiquitous in its use across the diaspora, regardless of a location's development or prosperity. Anti-gravity opens up opportunities for simple floating devices and items like lighting or personal lifts, as well as larger heavy lift orbital capacity, replacing traditional rocket-based approaches. I want this technology to be cheap and relatively easy to produce, as though it was more a matter of scientific discovery of a phenomenon rather than requiring significant additional new technologies or novel manufacturing capabilities. I also want anti-gravity to play a role in space travel. An anti-gravity drive, for example, may exist by creating a field that interacts with a gravity well of a star, planet, and moon and propels the ship outward along a certain trajectory. This creates an image in my mind of ships and less sophisticated automated pods quote-unquote bouncing around the solar system between the planets, making issues of orbital mechanics important and reinforcing the firm science subgenre of the universe. I will take some liberties to claim that such travel is inertialess, meaning ships and pods with an AG field simply start and stop travelling at maximum speed, rather than accelerating with the associated G-forces. This is a neat little trick to avoid issues of G-forces like those dealt with in series such as The Expanse. So that gets our people off the ground and even across the solar system, but what about to the stars? This is where the second technology comes in, zero-point energy. This is not a new concept, and refers scientifically to latent background radiation and energies in the vacuum of space, remnants from the Big Bang. The realization of this energy was a feature of later parts of the Stargate universe, in both SG-1 and particular in Stargate Atlantis, and has been referred to in science fiction for decades. This in part owes to its realism and the notional availability of latent in situ energy sources for use in space travel. For us, I want to use the AG field to create an infinitely dense point of realized zero-point energy. Because energy at infinitely dense points has attributes not dissimilar to that of matter singularities, the idea is that it can be used to mimic an incredibly large gravity well, like that of a neutron star or even a black hole. So when then our anti-gravity drive interacts with it, it propels the ship beyond the speed of light, hundreds or even thousands of times faster. To the outside observer, the ship simply disappears, but to its passengers and crew, they travel minutes, hours, or even days to cross thousands of light years of real space. Other elements of space travel concepts in our universe may include differentiating between ships of passage and pods. The prior I envisage being more scarce and rare in our universe, being ships capable of independent FTL. The latter I see as more ubiquitous, even mass-produced now and in the past, with different sizes and shapes of pods, manned and automated, having their own AG drives, but being dependent on orbital stations or an outside ZPM manifold to hurl them across the stars. I enjoy this distinction because for the vast majority of people, it implies an element of powerlessness or a lack of control over their own destiny as pod passengers. Even calling them pods implies that they are powerless, that they are under the control of outside forces, i.e., a pod person. This would be an inherently uncomfortable situation, particularly when, as we will examine next week, the risks of FTL travel are great. Finally, let's talk about fuel. Again, this is a firm science question. I do not think you can really look past helium-3 fusion at this stage. It's a relatively abundant resource outside of Earth, such as in lunar regolith, and it already has its use in science fiction. I see helium-3 being stored in tanks aboard ships and pods and being used as the primary fuel for generators for life support propulsion and FTL. I prefer this idea than to using zero-point energy as a power source itself, as I want to imply that zero-point energy is unable to be controlled in a meaningful way and serves a very narrow focus. This also creates an economy for FTL and space travel generally, a resource constraint that adds to the realism, so there is an inherent economic cost to travel. When added to both health and personal risks of space travel, this creates a situation in which the decision of a character, say to leave a horrible planet in search of a less terrorizing one, becomes increasingly loaded with the dangers of the journey itself. One of the things I love particularly about technology as a concept is the fact that we get to create our own system of colloquialisms. For example, I'm envisaging that the pods used in the initial dispersal of colonists across the galaxy were colloquially referred to as scatterpods, and that the name has sort of stuck. Similarly, the acronym for zero-point energy realization, or ZPER, looks very similar to that of zipper, with the informal meaning of the word zip meaning to move somewhere very quickly. So maybe in our universe, to activate the ZPER manifold to travel across the stars is for the ship or pod to zip across the stars. These terms are likely to be more relevant for narrative and storytelling opportunities, but do add depth and a lived-in quality to our universe, which I very much enjoy. And I think that is where we will leave this technology concept for the moment. And yes, I have another professionally voiced lore video on this topic about to drop on my channel here as part of my Dark Diaspora universe playlist. So go and check out the details of the playlist in the description below or in a card at the end of this video. Next time we'll explore what it means to travel across space and time in FTL, the horrific grimdark dangers to individuals, and the mistakes made by humanity in our desperation to escape our dying world. If you are enjoying this series, please hit the subscribe button and join us on the journey of world building, and put a comment below if you have any suggestions or ideas. So thank you so much, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and may the journey continue. Hey!